We're going to react to discus throw monsters of the 80s. And we're going to start right now. All right, let's get into this. So we got to think about discus throwing has progressed so much, especially since the late 60s. If we look at the technique, if we look at the rhythm, and we look at someone like L.J. Sylvester, he was a first person to throw 70 meters. And now the progress that we've made, a lot of credit to him, to Mac Wilkins, to John Powell, to Wolfgang Schmidt, to the first guy in the video, Knut Jeltnes, who was actually a coach at Army when I was in college. And I believe he was even at Auburn for a little bit while I was in college. Norwegian discus thrower, 67, 68 meter guy. And I think it's cool to see, especially with what everybody's doing now, where I just got back from the Prefontaine. Sam got 5th or 6th place with like a 65 meter throw. It's credit to these guys. A lot of I was so fortunate at the Prefontaine. I got to see Mac Wilkins, Art Burns. There he is. I think Art is. I got my sheet here. Art, I want to pause this. I got to see Mac Wilkins because I got a couple of things I want to mention here. I got to see Mac at the Pre. We were walking. He was walking up the steps. I was walking down the steps to get to the athlete area. I had been watching Mac Wilkins videos again. We got a great podcast, couple great podcasts last year. I got to talk to him for a while because I ended up talking and saying, Mac, you didn't have a high point. And Sam doesn't throw with a high point. And I wanted to ask you, because something that I've worked on with a lot of other throwers is actually creating a high point. I've talked with Christoph Kipp about this high point stuff. And Mac goes, he had to go quickly. I was like, look, if you got to go, we can talk about it later. He goes, 2 meters. 2 meters on every throw if I would have had a high point. Biggest error in my career. And this is Olympic champion, one of the best ever. 70, 98 is his PR. And it's like, it's really, really cool to have that ability to talk to somebody in the sport, right? And so Art Burns, I believe, is the number 4 American discus thrower of all time, 71-18. Sam actually passed him this year, earlier in Ramona. And you can see even there, it's a little bit more. I almost equated some of their movement. If you look at Art's finish, it's like reminiscent of a spin with a long, short finish in the glide. See if that makes sense here. I've always sort of felt that way with some of these guys. Here we go with Ken Stadel. A little bit of a knee sweep, gets to the front. Big finish forward. Note, I remember Leif Arrhenius said, discus throw. Note, when there was no cage, the wind was ripping, and people sat right next to the circle. Those were the great moments. And here's Mac. Let's see. So like right there, you can see as his right comes down, he's carrying that discus low. He does, maybe you could argue that's a high point, but I think that's just sort of by chance. Now, I wanted to point out here on this throw, okay, so I like down, right? Catches that really well with that left leg right there. Pretty good position. Oh, geez. There we go. Boom. Is that the mountain? Is that the Mountain Boys? 70-36. What a freaking rip. Marku Tuoko. He's got to be finished, right? Got to be finished. I could be completely wrong. Almost reminiscent of an Al Order entry out of the back. Ben Plunknet, the American record holder, 71-32. Not a lot of footage of Ben actually online. Sam was, 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters off of that American record. Catches that position middle. This looks like it's almost like a warm-up throw. And this is a big thing now that we have to appreciate. And I wish a lot more throwers. I was talking to Chuck and Equity about this. I wish more throwers videoed everything and were open to discussing things in comps and after comps and all this stuff, because we've got to preserve these throws so that we can keep making good progress year over year, because we got freaking cell phones that can video really high quality throws. And we can see the progress this past weekend was absolutely insane. Imrich Booger. Here we go. Wham! Nice non-reverse, just slamming it. A little bit of a knee sweep, and then he gets a little bit past that in the middle. It's so fun to watch what these guys were doing. And some of them, hold on a second. Look at the, I just want to point out, look at the wind. Look, guys, it's okay to throw discus in the wind. It's okay. Mike's not a bad guy for doing that. It's all right. Look at the flags on the side. It's okay to do it. It's been going on for a while. It's an airfoil. It's part of the sport. John Powell. Rest in peace, John. And John was like the guy that I feel like a lot of people I was around. There was like the Mike or the Mac Wilkins. There was the Mac Wilkins, and then there was a John Powell camp. So some of the kids I went to college with were the John Powell camp. Now, John would get a pretty big high point there. Jürgen Schultz, the world record holder prior to elect. I always like that little step through. A little short on his sweep. Romas Hubertus, man, dude, this is great. And this is the classic. This is the literal throws video that I grew up with right here. This is where I'd love to sit down with Mac, Wolfgang, talk to these guys. Like, what do you think you could have done better there? Knowing what you know now. Knowing, what you've learned and what you've seen over the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. A little blocked off from Ben there. Just a behemoth of a dude. John Brenner throwing discus. Dude, I don't actually remember. I've seen this video multiple times. I don't know if I've ever seen him, like, if it's ever registered on me. Decent movement, actually. He almost does like a little reverse, he has a low point almost with the discus. Okay, I love this throw. Dr. B used to talk about this as a great entry out of the back. Like, what would Max say about that throw right now? That would be freaking awesome. Actually, we talked about that throw on the podcast. Here's the old world record. Great filming from whoever this videographer was. So far. Bob Weir, coach at Mizzou. I want to say the first Commonwealth Games. I remember there was a Commonwealth Games, like, was that in Malaysia that I think he won that. A little late off that left, but still good finish. Luis Dalis, Cuban, lives in Miami now. Long. I think he was a 71 meter guy, if I remember correctly. Should have all their PRs in front of me right now. Just a monster. Domchev. Notice he had a little start back there on the right. Carried it like Al Order out of the back. Art Burns. Again, remember, he's number 4 all time. 71-18 is Art Burns' PR. And I think this is 84. Left leg blocked him off. A little short out of the back. Canute. Left opens. Maybe a slight knee sweep. Good finish forward. Sam had worked with Canute a little bit in high school. And Mac. There's Imrich again. So it's interesting because you start to see some of their technique progress. Shutkin. This looks like this might be in the 80s or 80 Olympics, possibly. I'm trying to think. This likely. See if we get a high point. No high point yet. Just a little And then that left, when that left comes down, real open with the left shoulder, but just smacking that around on the finish. Richard Slaney. I was gonna say I didn't think he was American. I'm trying to go through my brain on my throws knowledge as well as I possibly can. All right, this might have been, was this the world record throw? See, in my understanding, I've talked to Nick Arrhenius about the high point. In my understanding, watching and talking to Christoph about this, is a lot of the best guys now are trying to get the high point, or at least it appears this way. Alekna, Ralford, those guys, Roja, high point earlier up that right sector. That's the stuff that we're trying to get Alex to do right now, actually, and even Jaime, because sometimes she's a little bit late and gets that high point up the left sector. Manuel Martinez, not the glider though. I'm not sure if here's Luis Delis again. You can see a lot of throwers now will get a little bit of a delay or a slight re-wrap from that left side. I'm thinking about Val, which she does. She gets a great high point pretty early and then has that little bit of a re-wrap. 66.60. John Powell again. Here we go.
Boom.
John Powell's PR 71.26. Sam went 71.27 this year. Here's Mac. Nice video right here. See there, I think he gets more of a high point actually. I'm going to rewind that one. Because this one, I actually think if we look at it, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to play this again. Because he comes out of the back. Okay, so he's got this opening with that left side here, pretty level. I want to see what he does with that right side, right? Maybe the left, I don't know, maybe a hair falling in there, maybe. Sweeps up. So that's, I do think, a tendency that we would see not as much today. But then that left, look at where when the right comes on. This is the big thing I think is huge. When the right comes down, where is the left foot? And if the left foot is passing the right or past the right, you're in a good spot. And this is where I would argue he has a slight high point here. This is later in his career. Left comes down. It appears to be down there. Maybe his shoulders a little forward, but still look at the discus here. And it's like the discus here to the hip is key. And then just sort of sits into that left right there. Boom. This is from that same training. This is literally like the footage that we grew up with. I hope you guys like this. This is the 80s discus monsters. Shout out to Rob Souflon for putting this together 15 plus years ago, putting this out on YouTube. I hope you guys enjoy this. Comment below on other videos that you want us to react to. If you guys need help with your training, head over to throwsuniversity.com. It's the first link down below in the description. If you want to become a better thrower, better discus thrower, better shot putter, you can train with us online at throwsuniversity.com. Until next time, peace.